charge, and my power diva of the day is Rita Casman. Rita has a lot to talk about. She's also kind of a contributing author to a book, Girl, Get Up and Win. I love that. So, Rita, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi. Well, thank you so much, Lisa, for having me. I feel so honored. I admire you so much, and I think that we make the things like whatever we want a reality more even when we get together with people that have our same mindset and are headed the same way. So I'm so happy to be here. Um, well, to cut it short, because I've done so many things in my life, I look much younger than what I am, but I have
Yes.
I have my mileage there, um, so which is good. I basically always wanted to be, an actor, an entertainer, but I also want to be a life coach. I would say teacher, but it's life coach. What I ended up doing. And basically, I did a lot of jobs. Obviously, when I was young, I worked since I'm 18. And then one thing led to another to make my dream come true. First, I worked in call centers for like 5 years and I have like an actual career on it. And I never grew there. So I'm like, this is not it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to see what it is. So then I I got into and that knowledge actually helped me. Then I got into working like on my own. Like I would have my clients or I would just like go into a company, learn a bit, and then just like resign. Like that was my plan because I studied communication and design, which is a little bit like focused, and for me was more PR and
Mhm.
marketing. So I'm like, I want about marketing, and I mean, at that time I was just graduated from school, from college. So I didn't have, I never worked like as an assistant or anything for marketing, which I should have. But it's fine because the call center really helped me because I was born in Guatemala, so English is not my first language, but it actually is kind of. So that call center thing really helped me because I outsourced for Sears, General Electric, and even Singa for Facebook. So and Telus International, which is Canadian. So I worked there for 3 years. And I was still like I got really high above like pretty fast in 3 years. I was like, this is still not it. And every time I would put my dream up, like I'm like, okay, I'll get married, I'll have a baby, or maybe I'll never do it. And then I had this client that's he's actually still works in Hollywood, but still a little bit less than what he did before. And he has this amazing curriculum. He is basically a visual artist, and his name is Carlos Harwayo. He's from Nicaragua. He lived a while in Guatemala. Now he went back there again. And when he was 17, he took off to the States, not knowing any word of English. Now he doesn't even have an accent. It's really funny. I don't
Wow.
know. Like he is so intelligent. And he worked for NASA for years, and he loved doing all those visual stuff. And then he just got into the computer. He fell in love with it, and he has been in from videos with Michael Jackson to when the Morpho effect started, which was like a actual like technology thing, to the Chronicles of Narnia, and actually he many more movies, but those are like the most famous that people are like kind of like locate him. So he started a studio, which he put it like Studio C, because he didn't even know how to put it. Like, okay, it's gonna stay like Carlos, right? Yeah. So he started training kids, basically kids, because they're like what, 25, 18,
Hmm.
really really young kids. So they would learn how to do After Effects and stuff like that. So part of these people were did part of the Narnia. The I think it was Prince when Prince Caspian. That version, I think it's like 2 or 3 Narnias. I don't remember. I haven't watched it in a while. And people from Guatemala, they did that when Narnia was nominated for the Oscar. So he knows what he's doing. So
Yes.
when he came to Guatemala, because he loves Guatemala, even though he's not Guatemalan, he kind of established there, right? So he needed a publicist. And I had no experience, but I did at the same time, you know, and he just loved that I had really good English, and he's like, "You want to be an actor?" I'm, you know, and it's like, well, yeah, but I don't know if I'm gonna do it. Well, I'm gonna make you, you know, and he did. He pushed me so hard, it made me cry and stuff like that. But you know, I really appreciate it because I was very, even though I was 29 years old at that time, I was very mature. So he told me, if you're gonna go there, it's America. People are not going to want your long emails, and you're gonna have to learn how to communicate, because I'm a Libra, so I speak a lot. So he's like, I'm gonna teach you, you know, the American culture. So I'm like, okay, because this man has lived here even more than what he lived in his own country, you know. So I mean, for me, he's American. So um he really pushed me, and he it's like I learned by looking for the things for him without knowing, but he trusted. He's like, she's got to figure it out, you know. She's got to figure out. She'll and what he was very interested in to like help me, you know, even though I helped him, obviously, and he paid me for that, was that he wanted me to see how a schedule is in a person from the industry. It doesn't matter if you're an actor, producer, or whatever. There's a lot of things that we never get done, you know. We never got done, you know, because it piles up, you know. But he's like, you know, this is the thing. Even though I'm a perfectionist, he would say, I try to do the best I can. And whatever's not done is because of something. Because you can't, and he still didn't delegate as much, because I would always tell him, Carlos, let me do this. I'm like, oh, I can't let go, you know, because of course I didn't have like the experience where I was not on the industry, right? So there were things that he wouldn't let go, and I totally understand that. But he taught me that, and that was part of his studio, obviously. But he started foundations called Fundación CA, which is, it goes, the CA is by Carlos Harwayo, right? It's foundation. So he would get money from the government and from other entities to pay for the studies of kids that would want to study, you know, animation without going necessarily to a college. But actually, I don't know if it was just course. I think it's still just courses, but people would go, you know, to the, it was the Da Vinci University in Guatemala, where they would go and take the classes. They would get the computers, because all the software is amazingly expensive, but it's not impossible, you know. So I was very passionate of seeing his wanting to give back, because he said, when I came back from Hollywood to retire to Guatemala, which is Antigua Guatemala, which is like the where the original capital of my country was, years ago, it became like a touristic attraction. So he loved that place, and he went there. And going out, you know, people will ask him, you know, what do you do? And I'm like, oh my God, you're called. And he would be like, oh my God, like, people, it's not that much that he's us, but it's much like people really want to do the things that I did. And for me, it's easy because I did it. But not everybody, like, they're looking for ways, but like, I don't have the money. Not everybody can come. I mean, it was other times, you know, where he can be 17 years old and come here, you know, and then just become a citizen. I mean, it's super, or a green card holder. I mean, it's not as easy now. So it kind of reminded me, you know, because I always, when I was little, I wanted to be a philanthropist, but I didn't know that it was a name to be a philanthropist. I would just give back. So one day, I was working late at the office, and I couldn't concentrate, and it just came to me, you know, because I would, his resume is 3 pages long, and he doesn't even include everything there. I mean, because he's like, I can't make it longer than that, you know. So I was like, you know what, just out of curiosity, I'm gonna go to the internet and see how much it is to go to LA. But I was looking for classes. I didn't know that there were master's degrees. And when I saw that, because I have a master's degree in international relations and half of an MBA, which, by the way, I figured out that I can finish online from here. So I probably will do that next year, decreting. But I mean, I'm just very passionate about learning. I mean, it's my hobby and my thing, and like it goes. It's more than a hobby. It's like a lifestyle of mine. You know, it's a passion of mine. So when I saw that, I remember it said $62,000, I think it was, and I knew that that was a lot of money because in Guatemala, a dollar is almost 8 quetzales, you know?
Oh,
So
wow.
I was like, you know what? I want to do this. If it's for me, you know, because this thing has been haunting me all my life, I'll do it, you know?
Hmm.
So I just put it out. I didn't even see, like, where am I going to get the money? Nothing. In like a year and a bit, I ended up here and I got everything figured out. After a while, I met somebody, which now is my husband. We've been married for almost 5 years, and he has believed in my dream and my projects. We have a lot of projects together, and he helped me make my dream come true and help me, you know, get adapted to here because I had never left my country or my family for that fact. And even though my English is really good, because I don't like to say perfect because nobody's perfect, but you know, but it's I did a quantum leap. Basically, that's what
Yes,
I did.
you did.
I've done it before, but this one's like the first one that was like the biggest one in my life. So yeah, I was gonna need some help. I was gonna need some company, even though I was very focused on my career and not on having a romantic relationship. I was actually looking for friends and not for a husband, but you know, it's how it is. I mean, it was like love at first sight, you know. We
It
got
happens when
married.
it happens. You can't help
Yeah,
it. It just happens.
we got married in 3 weeks, you know.
Oh
I
my
mean,
goodness, I didn't know
insane
that.
because it's like I recognize them from another past life. I mean, we've been together for a lot of time. So, um, doing all this stuff, you know, related to acting and producing, because I'm with a filmmaker mindset actor. Um, I've always loved writing, so I started writing my book, and then I got this collaboration with Talisha Berry with "A Girl Get Up and Win," which is an Amazon bestseller. And I was like, this is not that hard, you know. You can do it. I mean,
Right.
now with there's more possibilities. You don't need that much money to make something reality like maybe it was before, and still people would make it happen, right? So I just I you know, with all this pandemic and stuff, I started to have more time to slow down, and I was able to study my life coaching stuff, and I started studying several esoteric disciplines because I'm very passionate about spirituality as well. So yeah, it's basically a little bit like the most resumed version of how I got here, but it's been a dream come true, you know. And all these 5 years that I've been in acting, basically what I've done is make a space for me in this industry, which is something that if I would have understood, and I really encourage other people to know that it's a long journey, because first you have to make yourself the space, and if I would have known that, I would have been less anxious about it. I'm like, oh, I'm fine, because to be honest, in 5 years I've done a lot of things. It's very fast. It would sound like, oh,
You
it's five,
have.
but no, I'm like, I'm pretty ahead of a lot of people, not to compare myself, but I mean, it's the truth. So but it's because I've really not just worked hard, but like really organized myself and look for the right people to guide me in this journey, you know. And yeah, I made a lot of mistakes, but you know that failure is all part of success.
Right.
And I won't change anything basically for it, because it's just I mean, I feel like so privileged to be this young and to've had all of those things that I've gone through, you know, and basically be a voice for others, because apart from philanthropy, I mean, I do consider myself a public speaker. So I tell my story, you know, to tell others stories, but not just because of that. It's also because I feel comfortable being vulnerable now, because I was always taught that that was bad, you know,
Yes.
because, you know, I mean, my parents come from another time, so
Mm-hmm.
we were taught that. But then I learned, no, it's actually a good thing. It's just you
It's a
have to
very
learn
good thing.
how to do it. It's not about being the victim, it's about being the survivor, you know.
Exactly.
So I'm like, yeah. So I don't only want to tell stories through film and TV and Broadway and whatever. I want to do it anywhere, in any way possible. And I've helped a lot of people just with my stories, you know, and I feel so grateful for that, because I even thought, like, if it's just one person, like, my job's done here. But no,
That's how I feel.
yeah, like, basically my thing is, you know, is to reach other people. And people would say, well, the audience and stuff, it's not about audience, it's about of being a voice for others, you know. I don't want that much about, like, followers or people that, like, fanatize me. No, but, like, to be some help, because that's what happens, that people don't forget that we're, like, normal. And I remember, because I follow a lot Louise Hay, which actually passed away just like a year ago. And people would tell, oh, you saved my life. And she's like, no, I didn't save you. You saved yourself. I'm just a guide,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So
A
that's
little
the
bit of
mm-hmm.
a little bit of backstory for our audience that's listening. Between Rita and I, we met about what, 2017,
Yeah.
and we
Wow.
were going. That was when Stand Strong for Justice, which that's kind of been an ongoing project because it's about domestic violence and abuse. But we were going to go further than where we went in 2017 because I got sick. I got cancer and had to go through that whole process of getting well. And then we had the pageant, which we kind of had to put on the back burner as well. And I believe Rita is still what, Miss California?
Yeah. Yeah, because for me, I'm from California. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's
And
the
we'll
first place where
revive
I lived
that.
when I came here.
We will revive the pageant, but I just felt like this forum, Power Divas in Charge, was more important right now to get it going and to get it up and to be seen and heard. And this is one thing that I've always loved about you is you're very vocal, but you're vocal in a way where you're helping people. And that's how I am. I'm just like you. If I can help one person, if I can change their life, then my life was worth something.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but a lot of things that people don't know about you is your life was not easy. I mean, there were things that happened in it, and I'm just so inspired by you that you are able to be this person we're looking at today, because some people that would have went through what you went through, they would be hiding in a closet somewhere. They wouldn't want to speak about it. And one thing that I've always told people that have discussed their domestic violence with me is once you begin to speak about it, that's when you begin to heal. Because
Oh,
my first domestic violence situation, I literally did not talk about it for 10 years, and I feel
me
robbed.
too. Yeah, years without doing it. And especially me, I have a thing. Um I say that I live with it because I think that my brain has gone through a chemistry, but I don't see it as a disease anymore, as an illness. But I was diagnosed, one of the things that I was diagnosed with, it was dissociative disorder. And that's what happens, that even though people, like my mom, offered me help after 7 years that it had happened, and I told her when it started, because that was just one person, it was with other men that I've had things happen. It was she I said, no, mom, I'm okay, because what my brain did was it dissociated, like, hey, it doesn't anymore, but it's there. What happens
Yeah.
with that is that years and years and years can go by, and then poof,
Yes.
you
And
know.
that's what happened to me. After 10 years, it got so bad that I wouldn't answer the phone. I wouldn't go to the door. I was afraid to leave my house. And when I did leave my house, I would go back to make sure all the windows and doors were locked so
OCD.
that, yeah, OCD, like really bad. And my parents finally said they were going to have me committed if I didn't snap out of it. So my mother went searching for mental health for me. So that's one thing we're going to talk about with you too. Not only your situation, but how it affected your overall health. So go ahead.
It did my whole being. So a lot of people say this, a lot of spiritual coaches, and I definitely put it in those 5 parts. So we have the body, the mind, or conscience, or brain, which is part of the body because it's an organ. We have the spirit, which is our emotional state. We
Mm-hmm.
have the heart, which has the emotions and feelings, not just the emotions. And we have also our soul, which is what is protected, that I believe, because that is eternal. We don't ever, like, this dies, but not what we have inside, or at least that's what I believe in.
Yes.
With what I've studied as well. And I got all of that. I'm telling you, the only thing is, like, this Katy Perry song is called Part of Me, I think it's called. That was the only thing that never touched my soul, but my heart broken in pieces. My spirit, bad. Mental health, yeah. Dissociative disorder, borderline personality disorder. And people would say, well, you don't have borderline. I mean, because I know borderlines, and they're like, yeah, because it does not affect everybody the same. It is bad. I'm not saying it's not, but the difference is if you look for help.
Exactly.
And I have looked but that's the thing. You can't just go to us. I mean, well, maybe it would work for somebody else, but for me, I couldn't just focus on psychiatric help. I had to go for spiritual health. Had to go for, my nutrition, because my body,
Mm-hmm.
with the substance abuse, especially alcohol, when I was younger, I needed I mean, really bad. And the thing with the mental health as well is because it's a brain thing as well, neural thing. And when we eat, we don't think about it. So I wasn't getting the nutrients that I needed. So once I changed that helped a lot with my anemic state, which is my spirit, and also my back. Well, actually, I've always had back problems since I was little, but now I can actually tell you that for sure I don't have it, because I went
Oh,
to a chiropractor and he told me your legs are the same length. I'm like, wow, after years.
yeah.
So yeah, the same thing. Cancer, I had 2 types of cancer. One was cervical and the other one was ovarian. You know, a lot of really failed relationships, people that I was with that I really didn't have to, a loss, when I was 23. Well, I was gonna have a baby and then I didn't have it. Um, yeah, all those things, and I'm gonna be very, very open, because I know that there's a lot of people that don't say it, but you know what? I'm not ashamed, because first of all, what happened was not my fault. Second of all,
Exactly.
I took ownership and responsibility. I had a porn addiction, and that, I feel like, especially women, we don't talk about that because, well, that's just men. No, women also have porn addiction, especially because I was abused when I was 4. So my brain was already introduced to sex when I was just a little kid. So yeah, that affected everything. Like, I wouldn't give myself to, we say in Spanish, like, dar a respetar, like, I wouldn't, like, show people how to respect me, because I didn't respect myself. And I went through my first suicide attempt when I was 12, and I lost all my friends, and oh my God, I mean, I've gone through so much rejection. It's countless, So it's like, and you got through rejection and you're going to Hollywood, there's more rejection. Well, it's because I have the capability to go through it, because not every it's this look, things are available for everybody, but it's not for everybody to get into.
That's
You know what
true.
I mean? Depends on what you came to do in this life, because that is a true saying. There's only one life, because I'm not going to be Rita again. If I come back,
Mm-hmm.
what if I'm a man? I don't know. So it's like, there's a lot of things there. There's a lot of,
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very bad sexual behavior, problems with addiction with food, addiction to shopping. I just got liberated from that right now, not that long ago.
Well, you'll have to
A lot
coach
of
me how
clutter.
to. You'll have
Yeah.
to coach
I
me
was
on
I
that
was
one.
attached to things because things would not reject me unless I dumped them, right? So I had a really big bullying problem when I was like 11 or 12. And it wasn't that the girls were bad necessarily. They were going through other things, and to me it affected different because of what had happened. I thought I was ugly and I wanted to die, and but that had nothing to do with the bullying. That was something that I brought from years because I never looked for help, because that's the thing. There was a stigma, but now at least we're talking. There's still a stigma, but we're still talking about it and we're letting it out. So people are like, you know what, maybe I will look for help. Because if I would have been that old now, I would have said, well, maybe I do need to go to a psychologist, to a therapist. You know what I mean? So those are the things, that I mean, to say, mostly what has impacted everything. For example, I wouldn't know, and I am a professional communication person. I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how to be.
I
It
know.
was
I
it
can
was
relate.
yeah, it was very, very hard. Oh my God, I just don't have like a way to say it, but I think you're getting me. Hopefully people will get it, but yeah, all those things, and it just would just get more aggravated and more aggravated and more aggravated, as time went by. And also other times when I had certain sexual encounters, I really didn't want to do it, but I would do it because I would be like, well, that way they won't hurt me,
And you
because
feel like you just want to feel something, you know. I
yeah,
can totally relate.
because that's the thing, and this is something very important, Lisa, like, to say that rape is not just violent, and it could be, there's a lot of types of rape, and people's like, oh, you're not raped, oh, but you were just abused, he didn't do the actual thing. It's just, it's not okay anyway,
You know, I was talking to my ex-husband a couple of months ago, and we were talking about the rape because it happened in my home by an ex-boyfriend, and he said, "Well, you opened the door," and I still like tear up when I'm talking about that because it has nothing to do with me opening the door. This was a person that I trusted.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly expect that to happen. And that's the case that took me 10 years. And finally, after 10 years, I went to a psychiatrist and I got help. And I always encourage people, you've got to start talking about it. You've got to talk through it. You've got to get it out.
And to a
If you keep it,
professional, because that person doesn't know you from all your life. So it's different from advice, and same thing. Something that I hadn't mentioned is my dad was murdered when I was 15.
oh
So
gosh,
that was really bad on me because I was so close to my dad. And actually my dad died without knowing what happened to me because I think that he would have killed this man. So yeah. And I actually saw this person like a lot of years later, like when I was 21, and same thing happened. I froze up like if I was 4.
oh my goodness.
you know and I couldn't say anything, and he recognized me because he stared at me, because he was the father of one of my dad's friends
Oh,
and my mom's friends. So yeah, and this guy, he did that to a lot of his family, pediatrician. So I don't know how many other kids he did. I like how sick in the head he was for him to do that. What happened to him when he was a child. That my mom's friend, she told, because it was her husband's father, and he never believed her. He never believed her. I'm like, dude, it did happen. Like, I'm like, why would I lie?
mm-hmm.
I know exactly what happened because I was 4 to 5 years old, and I can tell you that I remember still a lot of things. And for example, my parents had these like chairs that were like in a half moon, uh
Mm-hmm.
shape, and I would always go there and hide, even if he wasn't there, because in my mind he was like a monster and he could appear in my house at any time. Because that did not happen in my home, but it did happen in her house. It wasn't a huge house, but it was a moment where my mom just left me alone. So I'm not telling you to be like, oh my God, be afraid of your kid. No, but you can't leave a kid, like at least when the kid doesn't have a conscience of, hey, he's touching me inappropriately, you know, to leave him alone with somebody, even if it's an adult. No. I mean, till the kid understands, like, hey, if somebody does this to you, you tell me, you know what I mean? Like, you're alone. Okay, I mean, maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's so hard because let's say that I would have been 11 years old, let's say, and I would have understood that conscious. And if somebody would have, I mean, I would have shouted or something, you know, because my mom would have told. But to be honest, I mean, my mom didn't think she would have to tell me those things, you
Exactly.
know, because
And
she's like,
that
well,
was
he's a
something,
doctor, you know. I mean, yeah,
and that was something that you just didn't talk about. You know, I'm
7 years.
61, so I was born in 1959, and when I was growing up, no one talked about this at all.
Hmm.
It was just, and
Shameful. Hmm.
now because of certain things I told my mother, and my kids are going to kill me for saying this, but my mother instilled in my children, she had them so afraid to go outside. She was like, there's bad people in this world, and you've got to stay away from everybody.
Oh my
but
God.
but she was being protective because she knew what happened, and also in my family, and I don't want to say how close in my family because it's a privacy with that family member, but it is one of my siblings was molested, and I tear up every time I think about it because I go right back to 1968 when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we didn't tell our parents till way, way, way later. And now, when my children were little, my mother knew about what happened to this sibling of mine, and so she became very protective of my children.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel like with the domestic violence situation that I was in with my ex holding me at gunpoint all night long, my mother was actually coming to my house the next morning. So all I could think about was that she was going to walk in and find me and my son Diego because he was with me. My other three children were at my parents' house spending the night. But all I could think about, my mom is going to walk in and she's going to find me and Diego dead, and possibly him, because his intention was to kill me and all of my children,
Oh
because
my.
he had gotten my gun off the refrigerator and added more bullets to the gun. So it was his intention to kill me and all of my children.
This.
And I knew my mom was coming the next day, and all I could think of is this is what my other three children and my parents are going to have to deal with. And I don't know how I made it out of that situation. It was a lot of praying and a lot of talking myself out of it. But when my mom did come, he left because he found out that I was getting remarried the next week, and that's what set him off. And um, so he was hiding in my house when I came home that night and held me at gunpoint all night long. Now, Diego, he sent him right to bed. So Diego really, I worried that it affected him, but he really didn't know what was going on. And I'm thankful for that. But my mom did show up the next day, and I pushed Diego out the door. I think he was like 9 or 10 years old. I pushed him out the door to protect him, and because I would rather, him kill me than kill my mom and kill Diego too. And when she saw my face, she grabbed me and she goes, I don't know what's going on, but you're coming with me right now. And she
Yeah.
took me straight to the sheriff's department. But it was the most horrible thing that I had ever been through. And I already had PTSD from the rape
Yeah,
in
I
my
got
home.
PTSD too.
Your
Yeah, it's
home.
not as a military normal usual, but it's still PTSD. I mean, that inside is. I mean, I can't even like. I wasn't even able to breathe, you know? And it's like, this also affects your relationships, like, not just with men, like, and with women too, and like, with your sexuality. And oh my God, it really affects, everything, you know what I mean? But, and then you just have to like start healing, because then, I mean, I'm so grateful that I have done all this work before I have a child, because of course I'm going to make mistakes, but I don't want to pass on that same thing. And it happened, like when I told you that I wouldn't give myself to respect to others. um it's like, if at school, you know, because I was one of the first ones that started developing my body, if somebody would touch me, I would be like, you know, because I didn't want problems, or to say, or for me to stay alone. I mean, and I wasn't worthy of anything. So I thought that I wasn't worthy of any prosperity, of abundance, of nothing, you know. So no self-love, no anything. I mean, it is something terrible. And I had a boyfriend too that, I mean, and that's why alcohol, I think, is the worst thing, because it affects your brain different, you know. So I mean, he got drunk home, well, his home, you know, and he pushed me out of the bed, you know. I mean, why did I should have like stopped, you know, before to let him go that far, you know. And it was when I actually finished my relationship with him, but a little bit later. But it all starts with verbal, you know, with psychological
Yes.
abuse, and that happened a lot. And yeah, it's true, a lot of it I allowed, but it's not that much that it was my fault, but like like I took responsibility on it. But it doesn't mean that, oh, I called that to happen. You know what I mean? Because I feel that it was in other times how women were seen, you know, towards men. So it would be fine if you would just be walking, you would, you know, on your mini skirt, and they were like, well, you're asking for it, because that was how it was thought. But the truth is
Mhm.
that, with all due respect, I can go right now naked and nobody should rape me, you know,
That's
because
right.
I got naked because, I mean, actually, it's illegal to do that. I believe they would call the police, but it doesn't mean that somebody can touch me. You know, I mean,
That's right.
it's the only example that I can think to tell you. You know, so I would always, you know, be covering myself. I'm like, no. And the best example that I can give you is Jennifer Lopez. That's the best example. You know, she's 50, and my God, she looks even better than when she was
I
35.
know.
You know, and that CD picture that she had, well, it's not CD anymore, sorry, her album cover,
Yes.
she, you know, she's naked, but like in her, you know, her profile.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh my God, it looks so artistic. So I mean, what's the thing with like, I remember I had an aunt right once that she sent me all a nasty email, or text or something, because I took a picture of myself in a bikini. I mean, I look great. Why not? I gotta post that. I mean, it's not because I'm showing off, because it's for me, you know? So it's this thing that's what happens. So okay, so if these men, you know, from these times, and oh well, they're from a different time, well, it doesn't mean that they should die like that. They should still adapt to the truth. And it's not because we're living in the different times, is that then now we have the truth,
That's
you
right.
know? And that's why people wouldn't like to give power to women, because we are freaking uh you know, intelligent. We have, it's called the sacred feminine, you know, which is the
That's
sacred
true.
masculine as well, because we have both, right? We need both,
That's
because
right.
we come from two sexes, right? So, and even if you're trans, I mean, you're still a sex. I mean, there's always going to be something
Mhm.
that you're more of, even if you're non-binary or whatever. But that is the thing, they're scared of that, because what
Yeah.
happens is that the feminine is what receives and the masculine is what gives. So that's why the feminine has so much power, and that's why they always oppressed us, you know. So it's not about being feminine and feminist, like, yes, that's a world without men. Lie. We
Hmm.
need men and men need us.
And
But
that's why I wanted to have Power Divas in Charge, how we are
mm,
successful women, but we're not feminist. We're very proud of our bust and our
mm-hmm,
shape. We we still feel sexy. We are just women. That's the only difference. We need men. We need men,
Yeah,
and men
and
need us.
making and like, hey, creating these opportunities, because without going too far, like in politics, Hollywood, whatever industry, it's still always dominated by men. So we need to change that. I'm not saying like equality is maybe never gonna be as perfect, but at least as balanced as it is,
That's
you
true.
know? And if I'm going to give a woman, an opportunity to do this and that, CEO or whatever, it's not just because I'm giving the opportunity just because she's a woman. It's because she is capable of doing it, because there's a lot of women that are not going to be capable for it, So
True.
it's a thing that I have, I understand the diversity in Hollywood and everybody has to be portrayed, but I'm not gonna cast an actor, to have diversity if the actor does not have talent, or is not gonna tell the story how it is, So it's a two thing, you know.
And I use my feeling a lot even when I'm signing new talent as an agent. I
Mm-hmm.
go by what I'm feeling right here about that person. Because if
Yep.
we all learn to use our intuition, we can protect ourselves from things that happen like to you and I. It costs.
Yeah.
Now your situation was a little different because you were a little girl. I was a grown woman with children, but you were little.
But it takes. I think that it's different, Lisa. The depending on how your personality is formed at that time. So, for example, with me, it was a peculiar situation because I learned English at the same time as Spanish almost, because I started speaking till I was 3.
Oh,
So
wow.
when that happened when I was 4, and yeah, my mom used to think I was autistic or something, but it wasn't. Just I was just weird, I'm from another planet or whatever. But the thing is, the thing is that affected my voice because I'm actually also a singer. So when that happened to me, I was always ashamed of singing, and you know what? When I took my voiceover classes, they explained to me singing is the most intimate type of performance. It's even more intimate, the voiceover, even more intimate than acting. Why? Because it has the two things. It's all of you, acting. If I'm just acting, well, I'm still gonna be all of me, but I'm not showing my voice, like my singing voice
And that's
per
why
se, and voiceover is just, it's just the voice, right? So
exactly.
I'm like, no wonder I was so ashamed
Hmm.
of doing so. That affected my voice, that affected my way of communicating. So I'm totally blocked from here, here's where the creation also comes from, our root chakra, so yeah, definitely all those things, I mean.
And there were, I, I know that you contemplated suicide before, and I have too.
Yeah.
But I feel like singing is what basically saved me from
Me.
suicide a lot because I was able to voice or pick songs that made me feel better than what I was feeling.
Oh my god, yeah, because it's like a it's a sort of therapy person, because the thing is that we are mostly water in our bodies, right? So when we're singing, we vibrate. That water that we have has energy and vibration as well. So that's why it makes you feel better, because it gets you vulnerable. That's why a song's gonna make you cry,
Yeah,
or if you watch a movie and it makes you cry, it's also this. It's kind of the same, but with the singing is what I told you. It's not that I'm just standing, I'm just singing and recording. No, I'm using like everything. Like I'm showing everything. That's why a lot of singers
me too.
cry when they're performing. Yeah.
Well, I want to talk to you too because I know that you have talked to me about some tools that you use in your reality. So, do you want to talk about that?
Oh, sure, of course. I would love to basically give an insight, kind of, suggestion, because I've learned that sometimes we want to do something that somebody else did because it gave them the results, but it won't give us results because we're all different. So you just have to do the trial and error thing. That's what I've done.
Mhm. That's true. I know I've tried many, many different things to not only help myself but to help other people too.
Hmm.
Um, I I of course read your chapter in the book. Uh, Girl, get up and win.
It. I've been where one.
Tell us about it.
Oh my god. you know, things just get to you because you attract that. I do consider myself an expert on The Secret because I've been manifesting for
Me
over.
too.
So, and actually, I'm doing my own uh master class on it, on the perspective that I've seen it, because I'm really tired of seeing people doing these books and stuff, but when they're already famous, you know, or known, no. You want to start doing these things while you're on the journey so other people can see you on the same level, because it's what I said before, right? They tend to see somebody that has all this success like unreachable, and it's normal. It's normal. It's not a bad thing because not everybody is in the business. Like a lot of people treat me different. You know, I'm not even known yet. You know, but I
I noticed.
understand because it's not something that they're familiar with. You know.
Exactly. I actually had someone come to me and say, "You inspire me so much because I am successful, but they don't know the road that it took to get here."
Because it's never gonna be like straight. It's always gonna be other ways, and that failure is part of the success. Because if you wouldn't fail, you wouldn't gotten to that, uh, you know, level of success.
And that's
So,
why I'm so proud of you, because
aw,
I know you, like me, we went through some stuff to get where we are.
yeah.
And it
How did I meet you, Lisa? You know, I don't remember.
was through Nick. Nick said, "I got somebody I want you to meet," because we were doing Stand Strong for Justice for the domestic
But
violence.
no, it was much before that. It was much before that.
Yeah, I think so.
It was
I
much
can't
before
remember.
the
We've known each
pageant.
other
You don't
forever.
remember. Oh, you know what? I remember. LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I found
Yeah.
you there. And then I became friends with Nick and all that. But yeah, something like that happened with Girl Get Up and Win. I don't know if maybe I don't remember going to Courageous Woman magazine and setting up for emos. I don't remember doing that. But I just got this inbox. Actually, it wasn't even an inbox. It was a promotion inbox. And I saw this. Yeah, if you want to do a chapter on a collaboration book, you pay this and this, and they did like different packages. So I did that. I did the minimum one, not because I was being cheap, but because it was my first time. So I'm like, no,
Hmm.
okay. So this is how I, you know, take my decisions on investing. Oh my God. I met these amazing women because it's 40 of us. Actually, one of them,
Wow.
it's a pair. Yeah, it's a couple. And these stories, man, oh my God. And the reason why Talisha started doing this was because she's like, I was going through a really hard time in my life, and I started looking, you know, for inspirational stories, and I didn't find that many, you know, or just maybe like how I said, right? Like a biography or somebody that's already known. I'm like, I want to talk, not that that person is not real, but somebody that I could also relate to a little bit more because it's a little bit more not that it's that it's realistic, but how would I say, a little bit more like on my ground because of the level of success or failure, if you want to see it that way. So that's how she started, and she's done several collaboration books. Oh my
Oh,
God, I mean, she was like sent from God, you know. So I was going through a really tough time. I didn't even have how to get, because I didn't have a car in LA. I didn't sometimes have, like, because you know LA is much more expensive, so it's like, oh, let's go and have dinner. I'm like, I don't have some, I shouldn't spend money for this. And she's like, no worries, I'll get you something to drink. You know, I mean, I'm never gonna forget about that. And it's not the first time. I've gone through other times, tough times in Guatemala, where my friends would pay, you know, my bills. So, and that's why I give back. You know, because I have all this thing that I'm like, I need to share. You know, I need to share, but I was too connected with my masculine, so I wasn't receiving. So now it's like a balance thing. But the thing is that we made several book launches, but I went to one. I forgot where it was. Well, it was there in LA, like a few miles, maybe 20 miles from where I lived in Highland Park, Los Angeles. But the thing is that oh, it was in Irwindale or Irwinwood, something like that. And I got to talk, you know, and we all got to talk. They took us pictures, and we have a t-shirt that says Amazon bestseller. And I'm never gonna forget about that. So there I have it. You can read it in any order you want because it's actually a chapter per person. So I have it there.
I noticed.
And yeah, and I was, oh my God, this really helped me because I always want to do my book, but I've always had like problems like starting because I don't have an actual boss to tell me, hey, give me this by this deadline. I have to do my own deadlines. So it helped me to do like accountability, and it helped me to start my book, which I'm still writing, but at least I already have it. Then before that, it was years and I didn't have anything, no draft, no nothing. Now I have an idea of at least how I want to do it, and I feel like I'm gonna do more than one. I'm probably gonna do several, because my life is just starting.
I think so. I think so. I've been writing my autobiography for 5 years.
Wow.
But
it's great because it's always gonna change. Yeah.
It's always going to change. Yeah. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to see.
It's interesting. But a lot of making us feel better right here is telling your side of the story. And we touched on relationships a minute ago. My relationships, I always have to get out first because I don't want to be left. There were, like, with my grandmother dying and my grandfather remarried right away and my mother disowned him, and I was really close to my grandfather, so I felt like he abandoned me. So I have walked away instead of feeling like I was abandoned. And I've always been detached in relationships, and I think it's because of everything. I think it started with that with
That's good
my grandfather because I was so close
detached. To him. I had to learn because something I didn't tell you is that my best friend, like forever, she lived in Guatemala because her mother worked at the Argentinian embassy. So there was a time where she went back, actually the year after my incident happened in school, because I wanted to kill myself at school. So all the school heard, oh my God, it was horrible. I mean, I think that if I would have had social media by then, it would have really killed me because I wouldn't have been able to go through that. So when I kind of lost her, even though we're still friends after all these years, I wanted to look for another Paola, So I would call, okay, this is my new best friend. Okay, no, it's not him. No, her, and it's like, no, so I would get attached to people. And it actually helped with one of my coaches recently, because what happens with coaching and with mentoring is that there's no rule with the patient relationship, right? So this girl, she's great and all, but I don't think she managed it well, and I didn't, because I had this thing. So it didn't work out. So sometimes, I mean, it's not bad. It's not that she's bad or I'm bad. It's just that, it happened and that's how I had to do. But it all happened because your words are very, very, very powerful. And for me, this year was, transformation 2020. I want to get rid of everything that I don't need. And I literally did. Relationships, things. I lived 5 years in the same apartment, almost 5 years in LA. And because we had rent control, thank God, so even though it wasn't as little, I still had some space, and I started seeing that I did give away some stuff, but there was some things that I wouldn't see because I didn't have, I did have space, but it was kind of hidden, so there were things that I wouldn't see, So when I moved here to my new home, because we got a new home here in Phoenix, Arizona with my husband, I was literally able to go through everything without just going through the closet, like actually going through everything. So I got rid of 8 trash black bags, 8, plus all the other things that I've given away. I'm like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong? But it's like, okay, I'm not gonna be hard on myself, but okay, what is the problem? It was like, yeah, because things would not reject you. So you had things. And my dad, actually, before he passed away, a few years before he passed away, I had a thing with things, and even things that there weren't even $100, they were super cheap, and he took them out of me, and he said, I'm going to give you these things back so you understand that when you leave this world, you're not going to get out memory, nothing. It's gone, and he tried to teach me that, and it kind of did change me, but I was too little, so I was like
Yeah, you were
13.
too young. We
So
have to get to
yeah.
that point. And you have been my friend for a long time, so you know of a situation where I was friends with someone for 10 years,
Oh yeah.
and that situation, I actually cried because I was like, what did I do? I was blaming myself, and it wasn't my problem. But it just goes to show you how once we cross over to that kind of spiritual part of us,
Yeah, it just starts
how,
changing, then the relationships don't
yeah,
get.
God just kind of gets people out of the way for you that don't serve your purpose. And even though I was kind of upset that, that friendship died, now I can look back and go, I get it. I
Mm-hmm.
get it.
No,
Because
the
there,
same. I had this friend that I was friends for years with her. Like, I have even like cards from her. Like, she would give me, we would give each other clothes. I mean, and then because I was going to get married with somebody else like 7 years before I married my husband, and she ended up working at the same place because we worked together, you know. And when I broke up with my fiance, she stopped talking to me, and it hurt. And I'm like,
yeah.
dude, we've been more friends longer, but you know what? It's because we have served the purpose. So it's the time, to go, So I'm like,
And that's
oh,
something that I want you and I to collaborate on later, is people figure out that particular aspect of it. That when it is time for that particular aspect in your life to be over, and like within a few days, my lap got destroyed, and I literally was crying because it was destroyed at no fault of my own. Somebody threw it,
ah,
and so yesterday I was thinking, what is wrong with me? First of all, it's a material item. Material items are nothing; they can be replaced, but that's how to things. And I'm a big crystal person. I've got all my crystals and everything. And somebody once told me that crystals, even though they're in your possession, they don't actually belong to you. They belong to the earth.
exactly. Good. They belong to nature. Yep.
Yeah. So I still have an attachment to them. I haven't learned to not detach myself from them, but I am learning to let things go. And I feel
Yeah.
better. I'm a better person.
Oh my God, it's like you lose the weight, because I asked myself, like, why am I not losing weight? It was because it was mental weight. It wasn't just the physical weight. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, for example, when you when you don't let people like go, actually, like when you're grieving, like me, like I went through an actual tragedy. It took me years, actually. Not sorry, I'm moving around, but my laptop's gonna die. I had years without doing the Christmas tree. Like, I'm telling you, my dad died 21 years ago, and this week I did it by myself.
Oh, we lost Rita. I'm going to try to bring her back on. Well, anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed that little snippet of what we're going to be talking about in Boss Divas. Here she is. Let me add her back in.
Hey, sorry, I don't know what happened. Yeah, I was just connecting my computer. I'm like, what? I
I
did
saw you
everything to
going
get
like
back in.
that, and then I was like, oh, she's gone. But anyway,
Yeah,
I
those
guess we
things
could,
happen. Yeah, we're talking about the attachments, right? Yeah,
yeah.
it's a thing. It's just something magical happens when you let things go. So, for example, I was taking the like unblockage whatever session, and what she's saying is like, okay, so you don't want to let this thing go because even though you don't use it, it costed you a lot of money, and you were paying it to the credit card, right? So you're like, well, if I give it away, because I'm not a big fan of selling things. I'm gonna lose it. But actually, no, because in the minute that I let it go away, I'm going to manifest money to pay that card. So it's like I never spent it in the first place. So I'm like,
Right.
I like to make people happy. I like
Yeah.
giving. I don't just have to give my time or money. I could give away stuff. And you know
Mm.
what? When you do things for yourself, you actually send healing in your family. Because my sister that has not that much of a attachment, but she likes, we're Libras, we like to be combined, we like to have a lot of stuff, right? And she was like, oh yeah, I sold a lot of stuff. I'm like, what? You did what? And she's like, yeah. Why? It's a big, you know, big coincidence that I just did it and then my sister did it too. So it's like, okay, I'm going to a new home. I manifested another quantum leap, with my husband,
Mm-hmm.
from a rent control apartment to a 4-bedroom house with a pool. It's crazy in 5 years, less than 5 years. So I'm like, I don't want to take those bad energies to my, because this house, it used to be an Airbnb. It has a really nice energy. A lot of people had, a lot of fun and rested here for all
Mm-hmm.
those years they had it. And yeah, I'm like, I can't do that. I have to really learn how to clear spaces. And it's not that it's a witchy thing. It kind of is, but that's not something bad either. I mean, it's like, for years I thought that religion for me was the answer, and it has kind of some answers, but it's not everything. It's about being spiritual. So I started to do like those things, like rituals, because a ritual is not necessarily me doing a conjuring. No, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Like it's me doing a process,
Mm-hmm.
putting
Ritual can
something
be
on.
praying to God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
really.
that's really because God created these things to help us,
That's
because he
right.
wants you to do it by yourself too, not just to create, if not, we'd have miracles all the time in our lives. Yeah, we are a miracle, but
Mm-hmm.
there's other things that we also manifested,
That's
so
right.
he
And
wants us to use the free will. Yeah.
I am a master manifester. I tell people that all the time, and I try to teach them how to manifest. Of course,
Mm.
I'm trying to manifest a mansion right now.
Actually, me too. I already have written down all the spaces that I want it for, and it's
And
gonna
the
be
only
super
reason,
huge. So I'm gonna have to wait for a while, but that's fine. I mean,
yeah,
I'm happy and grateful for what I have right now, but I'm also thinking about the future. I mean, because you always
yeah,
have to have a dream. If not, if the moment that you start feeling just,
oh,
but
oh,
not
yeah,
satisfied, but in the moment that you start feeling comfortable, like, oh, this is fine, I don't need more, then something happens, because that's not good. I mean, it's not good to just settle. No. I mean,
mhm,
because we're supposed to be growing all the time, you know? So it's just about programming, but there's so many tools, Lisa, to get that healing for you on your blockages, on any block. Oh my God, I've really found some, and now I do it. I find myself really fast changing mindsets, because I already learned how to use my brain. So yeah, your mind is maybe not your best friend, but you can definitely make it work for you. You just
that's
have to
right.
but you don't do anything alone. I mean, I can assure you that you haven't done anything alone. I mean, you've
Yeah.
done a lot of things with support from other people. The same with me, you know?
Mhm.
You don't do anything alone, completely alone. No. And it's better to collaborate. And that's what gives you community. And so you don't lose the train of entrepreneurship, because even if it's Hollywood or if it's something else in entrepreneurship, there's no guarantees, and not even a job gives you a guarantee. I remember when my
That's
mom had
right.
like 20 years working in an insurance company, she was like, let go, because they found somebody else that can pay cheaper. So nothing is a guarantee. Nothing is secure. So you always have to have something. Not that a plan A or plan B, but like several sources of income or several options in your life for things. That's
Exactly.
what makes things easier. Yeah.
Hmm. You're exactly right. And my reason for the mansion is to be able to host Boss Divas there, because I feel like we really need a beautiful backdrop, because we are going to be successful women helping other successful women. And
Yeah.
I know you've had this problem, the same as me. There are certain women that we thought would be our friend, and we thought that they would be the friends that we help and they help us, and it was a one-sided situation. So I'm really seeking out women like you. I think that's the reason why we've stayed friends for so long, is because we both want to help other women. We're not in competition with each other or other women.
Yeah,
We
because that
want,
happens so much, right? Between women. I mean,
yeah,
between men too, but it's a little different with always the competition. Or like, "Oh, she has better hair than me. You know, I mean, no, that's the thing. We have to work with people that are like more in synchronicity with what we're looking for, because maybe what's big for you may not be big for her, you know, and vice versa. But that's not necessarily bad. It's just that it's okay. It's not here, you know. No,
yeah,
you have to look with like-minded people that have your same values, because for me, integrity can be one thing, and for somebody else, maybe it's not.
it's, yeah.
You
And I live on integrity and loyal. I love people that, well, like you, we've been friends for a long time, and I have uh, people in the modeling agency that have been with me since the beginning, since 1998, that are still with me.
know?
And but I believe that that loyalty is because of how I work with people.
Yeah, because you're so, I mean, well, it definitely has to look with how you were raised in the school that you went to and all that. But what happens is that, you know, my mom was saying this the other day, because I told her, you know, about my mentor. I'm like, you know, I mean, I know I don't have to be attached, blah, blah, blah. She was like, I'm going to tell you something, because my mother's super intuitive like me, you know, and it's actually a tool that helps us human beings, even if we're not an empath necessarily like me. But she told me, don't look for anybody that's guilty, you know, because that's when you don't stop. Like, okay, what did I do wrong? No. Sometimes things are like they are because that's the best way that you knew how to act in that moment. So that's something that Louis say.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's a
it's
lesson.
very, yeah, and it's very true. It's how I knew how, because if I'm telling you right now, okay, what I should have done 5 years ago, yeah, because right now I'm somebody else, you know. I mean, it's not gonna be the same thing. So you have to be with somebody that like has those same that you understand with like each other in that sense, you know. So you're like, oh, you know. So like, for example, there's people that I had this group of friends that they were all talk to each other behind their backs, and it'd still be friends because they didn't care about it. But for me, that is important. So they weren't close,
Yes.
you know, just to give you an example.
Yeah. And you know, I sometimes I have people come to me and tell me things, and I don't get upset because I'm not going to feed into that. And I'm not, like, if somebody came to me about you, I'm the type of person that I'm going to say, you know what? I know Rita,
Mm-hmm.
and she's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't appreciate you coming to me to
Telling me
talk to
all
me
those
about
things.
my friend.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people come to me to get gossip going, and I'm just not going to play
Oh,
that
no,
game.
no, no, no. And that's the
That's
thing. It's
negativity.
because what I'm just telling you, right? Like, um, that's why actually I decided to study communication, because that is the thing. I mean, nothing is ever perfect, but that is the thing that always has a problem wherever. Because you understand one thing another way, you know, and we have different cultures. I mean, we don't understand each other. One thing means here one thing, and there means another. So yeah, it's very interesting, you know, human behavior. So for sure, I was born to be an actor. You know, I was born to, because it's, you know, and I would, and a lot of times I would say, no, God, why did you make this?
No,
But now
no.
I know.
And on that note, I do have some jobs coming up, some acting jobs for you.
That is so
So
awesome.
it's
And now I feel
coming,
better.
not
Now I
in
feel better
five
because I have
years,
more
but
experience. Yeah.
exactly. Well, is there anything you want to, a message you want to get out in closing?
Absolutely. Look, maybe a lot of people say this, but I'm still going to say it. Don't be afraid to fail. I'm going to give you an example. I got this really good job. It was an acting job, but it wasn't to be shooting necessarily. It was like a live theater thing for a very famous company. I'm not going to say which one it is, right? Because someday I'm going to be working out with them and they won't remember of what happened. I was new. So even though they taught me what to not do on set, because of that situation, I didn't know what to do. And I did something like super stupid. Like they had us waiting. So I thought it was fine to be on my own, even though on my phone, even though I was not on set. Like I was on like I forgot the name of the place where they put you.
The holding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't like it. So they replaced me. And I was very hard on myself because they loved me when they saw my audition. And I was very hard on myself. No, but you know what? Thank God that happened. That failure of mine, because that never happened to me again. And now I understand, that maybe for this person is fine to be on hold and be talking, they won't care, but maybe for somebody else it'll give them anxiety, so you just have to adapt yourself to people. So really, do not be afraid of failing, because if I would have been afraid of failing and said, oh, I can't do this job, I'm gonna, then I wouldn't have learned that.
Exactly.
Success is not just having money, it's a lot of things. I mean, I'm already a success. I'm like, of course I'm a success. I mean, whenever you feel like you have not advanced, go back to your curriculum. I even have like 3 different ones: side jobs, life coaching, and a entertainment career curriculum. I have 3 resumes, for the love of God. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me for someday for a university to give me a doctor's degree, at a norm, of course, because I deserve it. I almost have 3 master's degrees. Of course I mean, actually, it's one of my dreams. I would love to be Dr. Rita Kasman, but yeah, don't be afraid. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and always
Be afraid
remember,
of failure.
yeah, and always remember that the word impossible says, I am possible. Impossible. I am possible. Magic lies within you, and it helps you manifest that miracle, because that magic is basically because people have changed that meaning throughout the years, but it's not about religion. No, really, God created the magic. The magic is your free will, is your own power. But don't just, what I feel like what the universe doesn't like is when you don't need to believe in anything else, you just want to believe in yourself. That's not good either, because I am not a super human. I may be a superhero, but not a superhuman, because I'm still human. Even heroes are human still, right? So you need that in order to manifest that miracle, which would be, that faith, that hope. And it's a power from above that goes with our free will, and the most important thing of it all, I would say, which I learned with Marissa Peer, one of the best hypnotherapists in the world, is that you are enough. If you say I am enough, and you really, like, I've been 2 years working with that, and it has made a major difference in my life. You're stopped with the vicious cycles, because those addictions come because we think we're not enough, and we're filling in a void. So if there's a void or something that we're healing and we're taking it out of that, we have to cover the space with something else. We can't just leave it like that, because if not, you're gonna look for somebody else.
That's true. Well, thank you, Rita. This is Rita Kasman. I appreciate you being on the show. And I just want to leave with a positive thought for everybody. Never lose hope of your dreams. I've been on several panels, and they ask me the key to my success, and it is, I have never lost my dream. And we touched on that. So thank you. And you will be seeing a lot more of Rita because she's going to be in some of my films.
No, and don't forget also that dreams are delicate. I almost was losing track because of going to my life coach. I'm like, no. I had to go back to acting. I said that in January I would go back, because I just took this break because I needed it, and I kind of had obligation doing it. Good thing that I took 5 years without taking one. So yeah, dreams are delicate. Don't take anything for granted. Really don't. And always look for help. Nobody does anything alone.
That's true. All right. Thank you so much. And I will be seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for our next episode of Power Divas in Charge.
Thank you. Oh, and if you want to follow me, my principal platform is Instagram at Rita Kasman. Easy cheesy.
Okay. Y'all got that? Rita Kasman at Instagram.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rita. See you soon.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.